Hello hackers, welcome back to Hackdoor. Now this is going to be a video on quick introduction of Wazuh. Now in the world of constant cyber threats, every second matters, and whether you're a sysadmin or a security analyst or just curious about defending systems, you should definitely understand Wazuh, which is a free and open source SIEM solution and an XDR platform that's taking security world by storm. Now you can think of Splunk or Sentinel, but open source, powerful, cost free. From intrusion detection to compliance monitoring, Wazuh can give you a full visibility across your infrastructure in real time. Now Wazuh started as a fork from OSIC and has evolved into a full-fledged system security platform. It's not just log collection, it's a security information and event management system that detects threats, responds automatically, and helps you to defend your system and also achieve compliance frameworks such as PCI DSS, HIPAA, and GDPR. And at its core, Wazuh has three main components: the Wazuh agents that are installed on the endpoints for collecting logs and security data, Wazuh Manager, which processes the data, runs detection rules, and generates alerts. Also, has a Kibana dashboard, which visualizes everything in a clean, interactive interface. So, why Wazuh over other SIEM tools? It's free and open source, scales from a single laptop to 1,000 endpoints, integrates with cloud providers like AWS, GCP, and Azure, and also has built-in rules for malware detection, rootkit scanning, and vulnerability assessment. Now let's get it running. Now the fastest way to run Wazuh on your home lab can be to use a VirtualBox VM. Also, if you want to run through Docker, that can also be a very good option, because in one command you have got Wazuh Manager, Elasticsearch, and Kibana ready. Okay, but for this particular video, I'm going to take an example of installing Wazuh in your home lab as a VirtualBox VM. So quickly go to Google and type Wazuh OVA download, and just go to the first link, and here you will see there's a virtual appliance download option. Just click on this particular link to download the OVA file or the VirtualBox appliance file. Now once this downloads, you will have an OVA file similar to the file I have here. Now all you have to do is double click on it and it will automatically open VirtualBox, and you just have to click on finish to start importing the VirtualBox appliance. Now I already have the VirtualBox appliance of Wazuh available on my system, so I'm gonna just start it for quickly completing this video. Now as the VM will start powering up, you will see a screen which will say Wazuh, the open source security platform. Now let's give it some time to quickly start up. You should make sure to go to settings and also make the network as a bridged adapter. This will help you to get access to the Wazuh dashboard super quickly. So make sure you have it enabled as a bridged adapter. So we can see that a lot of diagnostics is coming up, which is good news, which means that Wazuh server is getting ready for us. Okay, now the default credentials for the Wazuh server are basically Wazuh user and Wazuh. So let's quickly get into the VM so that we can also look at the services that we need to start. So now here we'll go to Wazuh user as the username and password as Wazuh. Okay, so looks like we have quickly logged in. Let's also turn ourselves into root user and also check the IP address of the machine by giving the IPA command. Now you can see that the IP of this particular machine is 192.168.29.191. 29.191. Now one of the crucial things that you have to remember is that you have to give an HTTPS before the IP in order to run Wazuh. Now you can see it says your security connection is not private, which is fine. I'll go to advanced and I'll still proceed to it because probably it's using a private self-signed certificate. Now you can see it says Wazuh dashboard is not ready yet. Okay, so this is a very common thing to happen, so don't worry about it. Okay, just go to the Wazuh VM and give the command sudo systemctl start Wazuh hyphen manager. Okay, we need to start 3 services, so Wazuh manager, Wazuh indexer, and then finally the Wazuh dashboard. Perfect. Now let's go back to our browser and hit refresh. Now you can see Wazuh is loading, which means we have successfully started the Wazuh server. Now this is the login prompt, and since we are using an OVA file which is configured for you to try in your home lab, so we have default password configuration of admin and admin. Okay, everything lowercase. Now once you type this, you are in. Now you might be thinking that why we are using such a bad password combination. That's because it's for your home lab, just to try it out. Okay, don't worry, if you want to change it, you can just go here and you can click on recent password and reset it. Okay, so you can go ahead and reset your password. This is something that I will highly recommend, so that you can actually ensure that your Wazuh is not accessible to anyone else on the network. Okay, remember we have deployed this as bridged adapter, so it's accessible over network. Now this is what the Wazuh interface basically looks like, and you can see we don't have any alerts or anything else. So what we'll do is we'll install some sample data. Okay, so now we'll go to explore, we'll click on dashboards, and it simply says here new to Wazuh dashboard, install some sample data. Now this will basically help me to install some sample data to explore Wazuh. So let's quickly do it. Let's quickly check it. So this will add some sample security information, which will be visualizations for file integrity monitoring, SIEM, and AWS services, Office 365. So all that kind of security information data is being added by using this particular option. So looks like there was a timeout. Don't worry about it. Let's quickly add it again. This is quite common. If you're trying to add data, timeouts might happen, so don't worry about it. The second option is going to be the malware detection, where we'll add some kind of Jara rules and virus detection data for malware, virus total, and Jara. Okay, so let's quickly add that too. You can see the first data has successfully been installed. The only reason I'm adding this one by one is so I don't want it to time out. Now finally, we are also going to add some sample threat detection and response data. Now this is basically the sample data on the visualization of the dashboards based on vulnerability detection, Docker related exploits, and MITRE attack framework. So let's quickly add it. So hardly takes a few seconds to add the sample data. So now you can see all 3 different kind of sample data have been installed. Let's go back to the Wazuh dashboard, and you will see here we have a lot of vulnerability data being added here. Now if you want to do something like a threat hunting, which is the very first thing a SIEM analyst would do, right? A SOC analyst would do. This is what the dashboard looks like. You have top 10 MITRE attacks, brute force, removal of services, sudoing of the systems, endpoint denial of service, email collection, data destruction, and whatnot, right? So you can see all this data in these particular dashboards. So very similar to your SIEM tools. If you want to go to events and visualize and understand, how different events are happening, this is also something you can do. Now this particular one, Amazon Macy alert, wherein an S3 bucket basically is granting an IAM policy or global rights. So S3 bucket is basically using a policy that grants it global rights, and this is what AWS Macy is detecting. Now remember, AWS Macy is nothing but a DLP in cloud, and if you want to explore this alert, you can just simply go here. You can see the geolocation is Shanghai and this country is China. This is the longitude location, and you can see what actually is happening here. We'll deep dive into this in later videos, but for now you can look at it. S3 bucket is basically granting IAM policy access, which will allow the IAM policy to read everything in this particular bucket and cloud. So this, please audit this bucket. That is what the recommendation is. So it's not just telling you what's wrong, it's also telling you that what you need to do as the next particular step. Okay, and this is particularly the rule description of the rule that was triggered. Okay, So you can look at these various alerts. You can see there was an SSH attempt to log in from a non-existent user, right? And if you want to just explore it, you can see what's the geolocation. It's France, Paris. Remember, this is sample data. It's just for your understanding, right? And we can see that there was an authentication failure for a non-existent user. Okay, so keep exploring, guys. Coming to what else does Wazuh hold for us? So that was threat hunting. Then you have vulnerability detection. Now this is super crucial because when you have different resources, they can get vulnerable and need constant updating. Here you can see various vulnerabilities and the CVE IDs, right? So if you want to explore, for example, this one in Windows, which is a CVE from 2017, we can see that multiple rules were triggered. And if we just want to understand what the vulnerability title is, we can just come to this section here, which it basically is telling us that it's an open EXR remote code execution, right? It causes denial of service. Okay, so you can look at different vulnerabilities for different OSs where you have been onboarded on Wazuh. Then you also have different mappings for MITRE ATT&CK framework, whatever alerts are coming, how they are related to MITRE ATT&CK framework. And if you want to look at it, you can just look at the events and it will tell you the MITRE rule ID that has been triggered. More on this in the later video, guys. Now coming to the part of malware detection, where we have Yara rules, virus total rules and Wazuh's own root check rules, right? And we can see here in the bottom that there was a positive match for a particular Yara rule. On the second one, we can see that the detection was a root check, which is basically a rootkit checking one utility in Linux. Okay, and then you can look at we have some false positives also here, and then we also have a file that has been detected by 31 engines. If you want to deep dive into it, you can just go to events and you can look in which particular agents or which particular machines this alerts have happened. So let's say we want to go for this 38 engines detected. We can just expand this alert and look which what is the virus total URL. So if you just click on this particular URL, it will take you to a virus total page, which will show you that what malware was detected, what's the category of it. Now this is particularly ICAR, which is basically for demonstrating malware analysis capabilities for particular tools. I also use ICAR in most of my malware analysis training. So that's what's happening here. Okay, so ICAR is something which is detected as a malware because it basically has some kind of API calls on the Windows platform that can easily be detected. Okay, now more on this in the later videos, guys. Malware detection. Okay, now we come to FIM or file integrity monitoring. So you can see that different file changes have happened. So this is something that you can enable in your agent. Okay, and you can see that which particular files were modified. Okay, so I'll definitely drop down a different video for file integrity monitoring in this particular series, but for now just understand FIM or file integrity monitoring is basically looking for any changes in particular files or folders. Okay, so if any change happens, it will basically trigger a rule which will tell what change happened and these sensitive files have been modified, which is not right for the security of your infra. Okay, now coming to the final part, which is configuration assessment, which basically is a log data of any configurations that have not been passed as per the CIS benchmarks or your compliance related data. Okay, so we right now don't have a lot of data around it here in Wazuh, but what we can do is our date timestamp has been set up to last 24 hours. Why don't make it for the last 30 days? Maybe we get some more data, and yes, we have more data here. So you can see that multiple rules have been triggered, 13 hits have happened, various CIS benchmarks for Amazon Linux were not met, and that is also what Wazuh is telling you, to harden your systems in order to meet the minimum security requirements for your machines or workloads. Okay, so this is what Wazuh basically looks like, and like you can see here in the bottom, we have basically different kind of compliances that we can also map our infrastructure to. We also have different cloud security modules where you have Docker, AWS, GCP, GitHub, and Office 365, where Wazuh can also be integrated. Okay, so this is what your overall Wazuh dashboard looks like. Now in the later videos, what I'm going to bring for you is a detailed video on threat hunting and vulnerability detection, MITRE attack, malware analysis, configuration assessment, and SIEM. Okay, so later this is what is going to follow, and I'm also going to teach you how you can create your own dashboards. Now, this is something which is super crucial for SOC analysts to have their own dashboards as per the requirements of their organization. So this is something we'll explore in the later videos. But for now, this is what Wazuh is. I hope this video was helpful to you. Do like and subscribe the channel if you really enjoyed our content.